That's my favorite. You're obsessed with Thailand. Okay.
Well, by the way, I would be obsessed with Thailand if Thailand took $300 billion off of us, right? And if Thailand was like, you have to attack everyone else in Southeast Asia. You know, we have a Thai Christian heritage.
Yeah.
And not just India did that. Like, we have a Hindu Christian heritage, and that's why we need to attack Pakistan.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're not protecting Pakistan, you're still being paid by Bhutan.
Yeah, of course.
People who are working for a foreign government accusing you, who just want to stay out of it, of working for a foreign government. Is that what gaslighting is?
Yeah, gaslighting is when the media says, take something very reasonable you're saying, and makes it sound like it's crazy. Like, so we say, we gave them $21.7 billion in the middle of a genocide, okay? So that's on top of the $300 billion, right? And that's, by the way, 10 to 12 billion we spent bombing Iran, Yemen, and almost all their enemies in the same period of time. We just gave them another 8.6 billion and another 3.3 billion. That happened in the last 2 weeks. So when you say, let's just take one sliver of that. Hey, I didn't want to pay for a genocide. I didn't want to do that, right? Whether it was the Thai, the Bulgarians, the Israelis, I don't want to kill 20,000 children. I don't want you to spend my money killing 20,000 children. I don't care what race or religion they are.
Why are you so hateful?
Exactly. And that's literally what they said.
I'm against killing kids. They didn't do anything, actually.
Yeah, and they say, so you hate Jews. That's gaslighting, right? Right? That's, so wait.
Oh, I live in that country. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so I'm the one trying to stop the killing. I'm for nonviolence. In fact, I'm religiously for nonviolence. If I have any religion at all, it's nonviolence. My heroes Martin Luther King and Gandhi and Mandela. And so I say, do not do any violence to anyone. It would be, in fact, if someone is doing violence, they're against us, right? And I say, and you just heard me say it. I say it 1,000 times. I love Jewish people. This is not about the Jews. So, but this country wants us to pay for a genocide. I just don't want to pay for a genocide. They listen to all that and they go, now everybody understands that Jake is an anti-Semite who hates Jews and is like an immoral person. And if you're not pro-genocide, you're anti-Jewish. No, don't say that. Don't say that, because you're actually going to get my Jewish friends hurt. When you say you're anti-genocide means you're anti-Jewish, that equates Judaism with genocide. Don't. I don't know anything that drives up anti-Semitism more than that. But back to the original injustice, and then we'll get back to more and more gaslighting, because the gaslighting is another perfect symbol of what mainstream media does and establishment media does, right?
Yes.
They gaslight on almost every issue. So real quick, one more, like Big Pharma. We can't negotiate drug prices. They're like, that's pro-free markets.
No negotiation.
Wait,
it's capitalism.
Not being able to negotiate prices is the exact opposite of the free markets. Everything on television is a lie. It's all an illusion.
That's very funny. I've never really thought about it like that, but that is so true.
I mean, why are we not rebelling against the biggest socialist or communist program in American history that we're not allowed to negotiate drug prices? What kind of absurdity is that? And we're the only country on earth that applies to. So it's just, they're like magicians, establishment media, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, New York Times, Washington Post. They're like, look here. Meanwhile, the action's going on here.
So the new year is here, but that does not mean you've got to overhaul your whole life, despite claims to the contrary. You don't have to take drastic measures. Make a few changes here and there, and you'll be a lot better off. And you can start with snacks in your pantry. Now, products from standard American chip brands are, let's be honest, pretty repulsive, filled with chemicals. They make you feel heavy and bloated. They don't even taste that good. They're not good for you. We recommend an upgrade with Masa chips. Masa is the easiest way to eat clean without feeling like you're on a diet. Chips contain 3 ingredients. That's it. Organic corn, sea salt, 100% grass-fed beef tallow, and that is it. No seed oils or Mr. Chemicals, just food, actual food. And they're amazing, and you feel great after. You don't feel weighed down. We particularly enjoyed the cobanero flavor lately, but they're all great. You want to give them a try? Visit masachips.com, MASAchips.com/Tucker. Use the code Tucker for 25% off your first order, or you can click the link in the video description, or you can scan the QR code to claim this outstanding offer. And if you don't feel like ordering online, you can buy them nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. Stop by, pick up a couple of bags before somebody else does. Well, the original argument, as I remember, I was never involved in this, but I was in, libertarian adjacent world a lot of my life. And so I remember hearing that argument, and I remember thinking, yeah, what is that? And they were like, no. If you were allowed to negotiate drug prices, you will kill pharma innovation in the United States and we lead the world in innovation. I'm like, okay, I guess. I didn't realize that a lot of pharma is just poison anyway. This was before the Sacklers, killed a lot of people in Appalachia. And I was like, okay. But then you watch pharma offshore. Like they offshore. Like New Jersey, you grew up in New Jersey, was a pharma stronghold. Basking Ridge, that whole area is filled with pharma companies that are making the drugs. They're not anymore. We don't make antibiotics, we don't make vitamin C, we don't make all these drugs because they offshore them. So we protected them from fair competition by eliminating negotiation, and they left anyway. So, what? What's the upside here?
I give you 1,000 examples. We gave the semiconductor industry $50-some-odd billion under Biden. That was the CHIPS Act. And all the Democrats are like, he's FDR 2.0. I'm like, guys, that's a $50 billion corporate subsidy. Okay, and did we put any guardrails in? So did we say, hey, Intel, here's at least 8 of the $50 billion goes straight to you. I think it might have been 12 in that ballpark. So now, as a condition to that, you're supposed to build here in America, so you can't fire any Americans. If you fire any Americans, then obviously we're not going to give you the money, because the ostensible reason for us giving you the money is to build a semiconductor industry here in America.
Exactly.
Right? Intel fired 8,000 people right after the bill passed because there's no guardrails. Because why?
8,000 Americans?
8,000 Americans, of course, immediately. They fired them immediately. It's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. None of the politicians mean it, and the people that allow them to get away with all of this. So all that is the robbery, right? Mainstream media is the getaway car. Okay, so they come in and they make excuses. Oh, FDR 2.0, it's brilliant to give away your money to the semiconductor industry. It's brilliant to give it away to Big Pharma and to Israel. If anybody objects, they're conspiracy theorists and anti-Semites, etc. Their job is not to cover the news, it's to cover up the news. So, I mean, again, look at...
That is literally true.
Yeah, so Obama ran a campaign ad called Billy back in 2008, and it was about the deal to not negotiate drug prices. It was outrageous, everyone hated it. A Democrat named Billy Tauzin had negotiated it in Congress. That's why the ad was called Billy, and Obama was saying, I'm not going to be like those Democrats, right?
Yeah.
He got in, said, we're not negotiating drug prices. Trump said we're going to negotiate truck prices. Not going to negotiate truck
So I
prices.
knew Billy Tozan really well, a wonderful guy from Shackville, Louisiana. Just a really charming guy. I used to hang with him a lot, and I always loved him, still do. But he went from Congress to what do you know his next job was?
Lobbyist.
Head of
Big Pharma.
exactly. He was the head farm lobbyist.
And that's my point, Tucker.
Not attacking him, but that happened. I was there.
Yeah.
I mean, like what?
So mainstream media looks at that and goes, "No, I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Big Pharma gives more, like 4 times more than the Israeli lobby does." And they're like, "No, I don't see it." I'm like, "Isn't the adage follow the money?" Like, so here is an industry giving billions of dollars to politicians. That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
5,000 at a time, right? And then to super PACs, etc. They seem like they're bribing almost all of Congress. No, conspiracy theory. I had a
Because they're bribing all the media too. It's
of course, that's their number one advertisers are drug companies. Number 2 advertisers, by the way, are politicians. Why do they always say that politicians are honest and they're having real debates? Because politicians are actually their top clients. So when you spend $17 billion in money in politics, where does it go? It goes almost all to establishment media, to buy ads. So the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are the best clients that CNN and New York Times have. So they're always talking about how great the Republican and Democratic parties are, how terrible primaries are. Primaries used up that money. We didn't get all those bribes to spend it in a primary. We got it to have a fake fight in the general election where you pick the lesser of 2 evils. We got you. So that's that's the Rosetta Stone, money in politics. Once you see that, you see how politics works, and you also see how media works. Which then leads us back to Israel. So we say, guys, they have contributed. Guardian did a piece on this. The Israeli lobby has contributed to 94% of Congress. Okay, first, do you think they did that for their health, for the general welfare, or do you think that every group they have is named after Israel because the whole point is to support Israel, right? That's not a complicated question. It's the American Israeli Political Action Committee. It's not got Israel. One of the groups is called Democratic Majority for Israel. They ran $4 million worth of ads against Nina Turner, which is one of Bernie Sanders' campaign chairs, to make sure that she was defeated by Chantal Brown. Chantal Brown was one of 11 people running against Nina Turner, had almost no ratings at all. Nina had a 35-point lead. She was running against the Lilliputians. Chantal Brown puts a statement on her website saying how much she loves Israel. Boom, $4 million appears. All in favor of Chantal Brown, all against Nina Turner. That's her raising her hand saying, I will work for Israel.
And what happened in the end?
They erased a 35-point lead. They bought every ad in Cleveland. And most importantly, they got mainstream media to say, now remember, Nina Turner hates Joe Biden, so she loves Donald Trump. Now, as Cleveland voters, they don't want that, right? Now, is that true? No. She has said a statement that voting for Biden is like eating a half bowl of shit. But she said, but voting for Trump is like eating a full bowl of shit. So what am I going to do? I'll eat the half, right? They never, ever put the second half of the statement in. They just said in every news story, whether it's on TV or in the newspapers, Nina Turner says voting for Biden is eating a half bowl of shit. She's so a Trump favorite. But how could she be pro-Trump? The rest of the sentence says he's twice as bad. So people in mainstream media are giant liars. They've lied about me all the time. They lie about Republicans, Democrats, but mainly they lie to protect the donor class. So then, again, back to Israel, and it's such a perfect symbol. 94% of Congress. It's not 34%. You had 34% because they have a lot of control. That's a lot of money that they're giving to a third of our Congress. At 64%, you say, come on, they have enormous power, if not control. And 94%, it's clearly control. Further part of that Guardian story is 82% of Congress votes basically with Israel every single time. That 82% on average gets 100, just in that last election cycle, let alone all the other ones, $125,000 per member of Congress.